Florida because it's about supporting our little ones. We cheer for them every step of the way. I just love being their mom. I tell them every day, I love being your mom. Like it's a special job. Like I love it. I embrace it. So he takes his L's and he just believes in the power of Epsom salt. He might have to get a deal with the Epsom salt company or something because he promotes Epsom salt all day.
Oh man, that's wonderful.
That's why he has you, so you can get all those deals for him.
That part. That part.
That is wonderful. Yeah,
Thank you.
IMG, that's a great basketball, baseball, football, just period.
Right.
Yeah, that's a powerhouse school. Man, that's wonderful. That is wonderful. Well, awesome. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to another Saturday. We made it. Another Saturday. Mindset Saturday. We're all here coming together to reason, right? Where we're learning how to improve our thinking, to improve our living. So it is wonderful. Thank you all for being here. All right, we're going to get started like we normally do. Ladies, this is for you. This one is for you. We're gonna start off. Well, you know, be careful. It may not work out the way you think. It may not work how you think. All right. Everyone see that?
Yes.
All right. Who thinks they know? Where did this come from? Who thinks they know what that is? Yeah, you know, being here is never what it seems.
Not gonna be my purse.
So that's what you call it now. Where do you think this came from? This concept came from?
Women needing to carry belongings for their children. So before, like
Okay.
an aspect of like diaper bags, so to speak, because they had all these kids, so they need to be able to take everything with them as they travel. So that's the handbag thing. I'm gonna go with that. I don't got kids and I don't carry handbags.
Okay. All right. Very good. And like I said, I don't expect you to know. These are just mental warm-ups.
Janelle put in the chat, it wasn't initially a purse. I do know that. Okay. I'm gonna guess like something like a bag that you held with your hand.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? Handbags. Anyone else have a guess? All right. In medieval times, when there was war in a land, after the war was over, the women of that town, wherever the war was, the women of that town went out and counted the bodies. The bodies were obviously usually too heavy, especially being dead, too heavy to carry back anywhere, but they needed to know how many people died. So what they started to do was they had a knife with them and they would cut the hand off. And they would put them in a bag. And take these bags, and they'd have these bags, and they would take the bags back to the village after they cleared the field, making sure they had a hand for everybody. And they would take those back to the village and pour all the hands out. And they would count the hands and know how many people died in the war. It was a literal handbag. Literal.
I thought
it was a bag full of hands. Bag full of hands. And it was to count the bodies who died in the war so that people would know how many people did not coming back. It was a literal handbag. This was in medieval times, early, right? So enjoy those handbags, ladies. Enjoy. Enjoy. Yeah. All right. Hey, anyone have a venture?
Janelle put in the chat, she could have gone without knowing that.
Hey, as long as you don't have any hands in there now, you're all right. You know, hey, we recycle things all the time, right? things, ideas. We recycle things all the time,
That's funny.
right? Look at Viagra. There's a whole lot of things that start off one way and end up for something else. So, all right. So, Kalari Bhutaya. Anybody venture a guess on what this is? I know this is the most random stuff. I don't even know how. I already know. I already know.
It looks like it would be like an Indian word.
Mhm.
That's as far as I go.
Okay. Anybody else?
Feel like it might be like some type of state of mind.
Okay.
It's the putataya at the end that's making me think something that deals with like mindset or something. I don't know.
There you go. There you go. All right. We need one. We need at least 3 people. We need one other person. Name a water park. Okay. There you go. All right. So this is the entire name. It's shortened now to Kalari. It's shortened to Kalari now. It is Indian. It is of Indian descent. And it is the world's first. It is the world's first martial art. It's the world's first martial art. That's what this is. It's the world's first martial art. There was a person, he was a prince who turned into a monk named Bodhidharma in India, West India. And essentially, this is where martial arts started in India. And it is still called Kalari Bhutaya, but they just shortened it to Kalari. It's the world's first martial art. Bodhidharma brought this to what we now know as China, to China. And what they took it as, they made it into what you would call Kung Fu. But it's actually, the first one is Kalari. And Bodhidharma brought it to China, and the people who he was at that time, he was a monk. He was still a prince, but in China, you're not a prince, you're a monk now. So he was a monk, coming from another country. He was a monk, and people had heard of him and wanted to be his disciples. And so the people who became his disciples, he taught them, so to speak, enlightenment and this form of martial art. In China, they have a Bodhidharma. It's called in Nanjing, they have a cave, the Bodhidharma caves. It has 121 shrines and 121 statues, and in China, and is dedicated to him. He pretty much brought the concept of Buddhism to China as well, of enlightenment to China. He was a monk by the time he passed through there, and a lot of people wanted to study with him. Has anyone ever seen the one-armed Namaste? The one-armed one? Has anybody ever seen that?
What do you mean by that?
Where it's just one arm. Instead of 2, it's just 1.
Oh, when you do one?
Yes.
Yes, we've done that in yoga.
Right, just one arm, right?
Right.
That came from one of his disciples. There was actually, he wasn't a disciple at first. He was a general and an emperor in China. And he had heard about Bodhidharma, and he had a whole bunch of temples for meditation and things like that. When he eventually met Bodhidharma, he wanted Bodhidharma to mentor him, for lack of better words. Bodhidharma said, all the stuff you did doesn't make you enlightened. So you're still going to end up where you're going to end up. And he wanted Bodhidharma to mentor him, essentially. Bodhidharma ignored him for 9 years, told him no. And finally, one day, the guy said, what does it take for you to mentor me? He said, when the snow turns red. So this guy basically chopped his arm off, and the snow became red, obviously. after that point. And Booted Harmer turned around and said, okay, I guess that'll work. I didn't mean that, but I guess that'll work. And basically mentored him from that point. That is where the one arm namaste came from, because the guy only had one arm at that point. And so when he began to teach it, that was all he had to work with, was the one arm. But this martial art originally was for two reasons. One, it was to protect the yogis and the other leaders, religious leaders, I'll just say at the time, from animals. It was a self-defense mechanism at the time, number one. And then number two, just as importantly, it was to train the body along with the mind. It was to train the body along with the mind. So it was to bring your mind and your body under submission to your highest self, and to have both of those work coherently in unison, so that you would be able to live as your highest self, physically, feeling physically competent, which eliminates fear, and using these physical movements and exercises to increase and improve and to achieve physical competence, so that you feel comfortable going back inside and spending time on your inner self, realizing that your inner self is the highest level of competence, but it must be also expressed physically in this physical world. So it's the unison of your non-physical and your physical, your inner and your outer. So through a series of exercises, which they call martial art, theirs was not to fight, but it was to protect themselves from the animals, and also it was a form of physical exercise that they would use to train their bodies to be physically competent, and to start to also use their mind along with that through a series of movements and things like that. So that's what that is. You're welcome. Wonderful. By the time, last one, because I'm going to use a little bit more time today. Last one, George Washington. I'm going to have to write, George Washington, by the time he got elected to office, had one tooth that was his. He only had one tooth left. So the concept of dentures as we know it, right, actually came from, not he was one of the prominent people who had them. He also had the shortest inaugural speech as a president, because his mouth was hurting all the time, essentially. And he had, by the time he was elected to president, he had one tooth that was his. Dentures, the concept of that, they would use a variety of things. They would use slave teeth, they would use animal teeth, they would use slave teeth, other human teeth, animal teeth, they would use ivory. They were basically putting in, they were the first one using grills, and they had all kind of things going on in their mouth, right? But by the time he got elected, he only had one natural tooth of his own. And he had just, his mouth was hurting all the time. So he does have the shortest inaugural presidential acceptance speech in history. And oftentimes when he was in public, he didn't talk that much. Back in the day, they used to use a lot of wigs. He never used a wig. His hair was naturally his, and he powdered his a lot. A lot of people were using wigs because those love houses we were talking about last week caused a lot of problems. And so one of the problems they caused was hair loss. And so people were using, that's why you see those big powdered wigs, because back in the day, a lot of people had a lot of problems. And hair loss was one of the effects of those problems. So we're keeping this a family-friendly show, so you understand what I mean. And so people started using these big powdered wigs, and they were fake hair. They were animal hair, human hair. They were just combining all kind of hairs. And as a result, they had all kind of insects in their hair. They had bugs all in their hair. It was just a hot mess. But people were using that as a form or signs of hiding baldness, and also another form of extravagance. They had them as big as they could, put powder all in them. They had wig scratchers. It was, yeah, they were just a mess back then. They had all kind of stuff going, right? The hygiene game back then wasn't too strong, shall we say? But yeah, just a little bit of everything.
I'm glad we're in the nowadays, cause
A little bit of everything. A little bit of everything. They used to sell teeth to dentists, and dentists would basically make them into a grill and sell them as dentures to people. Right? Take old slaves' teeth, dead people's teeth, animals' teeth. They take any tooth they could find, mix it up the best they could, and boom, and there you go. First mouthpiece, first real mouthpiece. There you go. All right,
great.
here we go. I don't know about you guys, but my favorite place, one of my favorite places to go to is Walmart.
Yes.
Walmart is one of my favorite places for several reasons. No particular order. It's simple. It's just simple. You walk in, what it is, what you see is what you get. It's very simple. Two, it's entertaining. It's entertaining. I mean, if you want a little quick comedy show, you want a little drama, you want a little action, you can get everything in there in 5 minutes. You can get that. But one of the things I appreciate about it the most is that it's simple. It's just simple. It's just easy to walk in, and it's just simple. Nothing extravagant. They're not selling things for $80 million in there. You want a quick t-shirt because you got a stain on it, go in there. Want some quick sandals, go in there. Want some quick basketball shoes, last you one game, you can go in there. You can just get anything. A little cheap watch, that could shine a little bit for 15 minutes before it fades, you can go in there. So the simplicity of it, right?
No dress code.
Just nothing. Just come as you are. Love it, right? Today's title is Walmart. All the things in life that we are involved in. Working, eating, playing, parenting, all the different INGs that we're doing. We require the same thing at the beginning. We can change what we do, but all the things that we're doing require one thing. We were talking about it earlier before the call started, but I said I was going to go back over it and expound on it, and I am now. So for those of you who did hear it, don't say anything. For the new people, so they can hear it. That's it. So no matter what ING you're doing, playing, living, laughing, parenting, working, running, sleeping, whatever else it is, all of those things happen only as a result. They are after. What is the first thing that we all must have or be in order for any of those things to be possible? What is that? What does every action that we take require first?
Us to be a part of it. Good morning.
Good morning. Yes.
You gonna say something, Veronica?
Thought or desire?
Thought or desire. Okay. Before you have a thought or desire, what comes before that?
Purpose?
What comes before that?
You got me, coach. I'm good. It's somebody else's turn.
Needs.
Say it again.
Needs.
What comes before that?
Monique said waking up.
Kind of.
Awareness.
You have to be alive to participate in those things.
Conception.
Okay. What comes before that? So life, waking up. Does everybody see that? Does everybody see that?
Yes.
Yes. But yes, wait,
Yes.
yes, today we're not playing any games today. We have to get this straight today. We have to get this straight today. Today. This is one of those days when you go to church, there's no choir singing. They like, hey, just put the money in the pot because we got to get cooking today. We don't have no time. There's no pleasantries. We get straight to the meat today, to the white meat, to the bone today. Consciousness. Nothing, you can't do anything. There's nobody in the graveyard that has a need, has a problem, has a solution, has a somewhere to be. There's none of that happening. Consciousness is the thing that is the foundation for everything. It's where everything must start. It's where everything starts. Everything that you could ever want to do, to be, to have, everything you don't want to do, be, or have, everything you're doing, being, or having, all requires and necessitates consciousness first, not second, not third, not when you get around to it, not when you remember. That is what it is. That's why today is called Walmart. It is simple. It's not always simple to a 5-year-old, to a younger mind. Our minds are just like ages in the sense of we have to mature them. We could be 40 and still have a 5-year-old mind. Haven't we ever said to someone, oh, stop acting like a baby? They're not a baby literally, but they're acting like one. We're saying they're acting immaturely. We're saying they are acting in a way that is immature, but they can only be acting that way if they were thinking like that in that moment. No matter what ing, no matter what it is we're doing, there has to be something that allows that to be, that facilitates that. It's not want, it's not need, it's not money, it's not gender, it's literally consciousness. This starts everything. This is where everything starts. When this is available, everything is possible. When this is unavailable, nothing is possible. This is Walmart. It's that simple. It's literally that simple. It's not complicated. It's not fancy. It's not expensive. It's simple. There's no dress code. Come as you are. No matter who you are and what you are, this is what it is. Consciousness requires everything, is the thing that everything afterward that you would ever want, need, desire. This makes all those things possible. Without this, none of those things matter. They don't count. They don't exist. This is the foundation. It's the backbone. It is the starter. It is the impetus. There is no alternative. There is no other. There is not a substitute. There is not a discount. This is what it is. All it is, all it will ever be. Everything starts from here. Does everyone understand that so far? Does anybody have any questions on that? Does everyone understand that or have any questions? Yes, no. I'm sorry?
So understood.
Good. Okay, everyone else? This is important.
I understand.
Okay, that's right. I'm gonna have people start signing some disclaimers out here, right? This is important. This is important because I want you to understand. So once you understand it, you can see. Because I was talking to Johnny earlier, he's probably running around here before the 7 o'clock call got started, and we were talking about this, and this is something we're going to talk about today. And it's so important that we understand this. It's so important that you understand where, when you lose your keys or when you're looking for something and you go back to retrace your steps and you're like, well, I was over here, then I went back. And you start to realize how important being able to retrace your steps is. Because you're like, okay, if I was here, then I was back here. And sooner or later you run into it because you can remember from where you came, right? And now we're sitting here and we're trying to live life. But a lot of times we've lived so much of it. And if we get confused or we get lost, we have to be able to retrace our steps. We have to be able to go back and say, okay, where did I come from? Where did I start? Where was I before I got lost? Where was the last place I can remember I was before I got lost or before I lost track of my keys or my wallet or my purse or whatever else it is? I was at an outlet maybe 2 years ago, parked in the parking lot, got out thinking I was near the store I wanted to go to, but I wasn't. So when I got out, you know, at an outlet, once you get in there, it all looks the same. All the stores look the same as far as like all the buildings look the same. Everything is just one look. So I got in, I walked around, I turned around. So finally I found the store I was going into. When I came back out, I walked out of the parking lot, but then I was messed up again because now where the store wasn't where I thought it was. So I parked somewhere different, but I came out from where the store was. So then I didn't remember where the car was because I was in a different part of the outlet. I walked around the parking lot for 30 minutes swearing the next aisle over my car was going to be there. Now, if I were by this time, it was hot because the parking lot is outside. It was hot. And if I wasn't all the way grown, I probably would have started tearing up by this point. Because now I'm tired. I'm ready to get back in the car and go home. It's hot. Mom, stop it. Knock it off. Right. So now I'm walking around and I can't find the car. For the love of me, I can't find it. Now maturity's waning, intelligence is draining, just everything. I'm all messed up now. I'm literally deteriorating in front of my own eyes. I'm literally just inside, I'm melting. Right? So I'm walking around, I swear that I was like, this one. Oh no, this one. So after a while, I'm like, you're trying to hold yourself together because you're like, how you doing? Yeah, how you doing? Good to see you. Like, hey, what's up, man? All right, yeah, okay. I'm crying and smiling at the same time. I'm just all turned up. I'm messed up. So finally got to the point where I was like, I said, oh. So then I called Veronica. I said, I don't know where the car is. And she was like, what do you mean? I was like, told her the whole story. But you don't want to tell the whole story. You just want to get some help. Look, just help. I don't want to talk about all this. Just help. Come on, do something, right? You're just out of your whole mind. You just messed up. Help. So she says, oh, we can look on the app. You can look on the app of the car. It'll show your location. Yeah, well, I had tried to do that, but I was only looking at the address part. I wasn't looking at the map. And so once she told me and I went onto the map, I could see where I was, like on Google Maps. Man, I was nowhere near the car. I walked around for 30 minutes and was nowhere close to the car. If I wouldn't have asked for that help, if I could not find something to accurately locate where I was, I probably would have still been out there. I would have had to wait till everyone left and there was only one car left in the lot. I would have had to wait. That's how lost I was, literally. I mean, I was so turned around and I wasn't turned up. I was turned out, turned off, out, down. It was not good, right? So finally found the car. I'm saying that to say, it is a wonderful thing to have a GPS or a wonderful thing to have a map. It's a wonderful thing to be able to trace your steps because sometimes we've been living these lives now. All of us are old enough to have enough life to feel like we can get lost, to say, how did I get here? What happened? How did I get here? I swore I was right here, or I swore I was going this way, or I swore I would have put my hand on the Bible in court. I swore I was right here. When I got out of the car, I swore the store was right there. When I came back out of the store, I swore the car was right there. I was lost both times. Something that could have took me 30 minutes took me like 2 hours. It took me 20 minutes each way to find the store and then to get back out and then in the parking lot walking around like Little Red Riding Hood, just look messed up, right? So I'm saying all that to say, to retrace our steps is important because we've all lived long enough to say, how did I get here? How did I get lost? I really can't believe it. I don't know. I thought I was right. Okay. What we are doing now is retracing the steps of creation, meaning of what you call your physical world, of the things that are going on in your physical world, in your life. We are retracing, how did I get here? And how can I find where I want to go? How can I do that? Okay. Does everyone understand that so far? Come on, y'all, I'm gonna wait.
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right, this is important. This is important. Okay. So we talked about it last week. We talked about the film and the projector and all those different things. Your consciousness, your awareness of being. I had a call last night I did on e-commerce growth masterclass that I did last night, and I was talking about how the physical world is the end. Once something comes into your physical senses, that is the end. It's not the beginning, it's the end. So everything that you can see, taste, touch, hear, feel, all the different things is the end result of a process. It's not the beginning, it's the end. When you hear someone talk, it's because breath is going out. But before it could go out, it had to have come in. You had to breathe in, inhale, before you can exhale. And with whatever you've inhaled, you use that to speak. Whatever you hear is the end. It's the end of exhalation. Inhale first, exhale second. It is the thought first, express second. So when we can understand the order of physical things, we can now understand how to create the physical world the way we want it to be. So we have to understand the order of creation. Consciousness. When, okay, I need a volunteer. I need a volunteer.
I suggest Sparkle Bailey.
I was gonna volunteer myself, but go ahead, Sparkle Belly.
I was
Yeah.
actually gonna type Gavin's name in the chat, but he just unmuted to volunteer me. So that's funny. So you pick myself or Gavin. You pick.
Yeah.
Two great minds think alike.
Gavin, there you go, Gavin. All right, so I want everybody to understand something. Here we go, so everybody pay attention. Gavin,
Yes, sir.
When you were 3 weeks old, did you know you were a boy?
Negative.
When you were 3 weeks old, did you know where you lived?
No, sir.
When you probably did, but let's just say for the sake of example, when you were 3 weeks old, did you know your name?
Barely.
When you were 3 weeks old, did you know you were what America calls black?
No, sir.
So then tell me, what did you know?
I'm alive.
That is correct. How do you think what lets you know that you knew that?
One, I could see, I can breathe, I can hear normal human functions, and it kind of made sense. It's just that, well, I'm here now. Time to live.
So when you said, so you didn't know what you were, you didn't know where you were, you didn't know, barely knew if any, your name, any of the things that we value. Where am I? What am I? What's my name? What gender am I? How tall am I? How rich am I? How long is my hair? Do I have a car, or am I on the bus? All the things that we value now. All the things that we all value now. All of us started off like Gavin, knowing one thing. And Gavin, what did you say that one thing was?
I'm alive.
You're alive. You knew that you were or are. That you were, thank you, Gavin. That you are or that you were at the time, what is the word for that?
Consciousness.
Consciousness. Conscious.
The mute button had me in a chokehold.
That's it. Consciousness. Right? We're bringing this all the way back to the beginning. This is all you were aware of, knowing, being. You were only aware of knowing and being. Why do you think that is? Why do we think that is? What does that reflect? Why do we think that is?
It's the beginning.
Okay, it is the beginning, which makes it what?
The start of something brand new.
Which makes it what? Which makes it what?
Possible.
Which makes it,
Necessary.
which makes it what?
Innate.
Important.
Important. The most important, the inviolable, the invaluable, the thing you cannot do without. You don't have to know your name. You don't have to know where you are. You don't have to know your gender. You don't have to know your race. You don't have to know whether you're rich or you're poor. You don't have to know anything. When Gavin was 3 weeks old, when we were all 3 weeks old, we didn't know any of these things. Do you know why? Why is that?
Because it's not important. It's not as
It's
important.
not important. It's not you. Anything after that is not you. It is, or they are, whatever the thing is, it, they, whatever, are, they're now just possessions. Your body is a possession. Your arm is a possession. How much money I have. I and have are not the same thing. Whatever I have, I may not have had it. I may not still have it. It's not me. It's a possession. I had a Jeep in high school. I no longer have that. I am still here. The I remains. The possessions may or may not. They may increase, decrease, change, but they are extensions. They are possessions. They're not you. The reason why the only thing we had that mattered was consciousness at the beginning is because that's all that matters. This is where everything stems from. This is where everything jumps off from. This is all that's necessary to be you. This is all you are. Everything else comes and goes. Being a parent, nobody's that at 4 years old. Right? Being Black, nobody's that at 3 weeks old. Nobody knows what that is. No 3-week-old knows what Florida is. No 6-month-old knows whether they're rich or poor. They don't know anything about the ghetto or about the suburbs or about an affluent area. They don't know that. So if you think about, I want you all to think about something. If in the most vulnerable part of our life, there's a fire in the house, that baby can't go anywhere. Somebody better pick it up. Yet it doesn't know its name. It doesn't know its gender, doesn't know its race, doesn't know its socioeconomic status, doesn't know all the things that we value first. How in its most vulnerable state then do those things not matter? In its most vulnerable state, it knows one thing, like Gavin said, I'm alive, that I am. Consciousness. And with that consciousness, what does it allow you to do? What does it allow even a 3-week-old baby to do?
Cry.
Anyone else? What does it allow a 3-week-old baby to do?
Smile. Live.
Eat.
Cry to get its needs met.
Everything, right? Cry, think, smile, eat, use the bathroom. It allows, it can do everything necessary to survive until it can manage its own self. So it is built with the tools to survive through communicating with the people around it to get to the point that it can start doing that for itself. So in its most vulnerable state, it's telling you still in your most vulnerable state, this is the thing that's you have to have. That nothing else comes before it, nothing else matters more than it. This is really who you are, what you have. This is your starting, this is your alpha and the omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last, the author and finisher of your experience is this. The fact that you are. If you are not, nothing else matters. In the cemetery, they are not. They no longer are. They don't have any more joy or any more fear, no more problems, no more possibilities. It's over. Because when consciousness is extracted, it's over. When consciousness is injected, it begins. And the most vulnerable state and point in time in your life, this is all you have because it's all you need to do anything else after that, called living, so to speak, called anything else. If you to become anything, first starts with this thing. Does that make sense to everyone? Does anyone have any questions on that? Does that make sense to everyone?
Makes sense.
Okay, so consciousness is first. The fact that you are is all that matters. It creates all the possibility. Everything else is possible because of that. So that means this is where everything starts. Your consciousness is where everything starts. It's not the world where it starts. It's not your gender where it starts. It's not your race where it starts. It's not your money where it starts. That's not where it starts. None of those things are possible without consciousness. There are no poor or rich dead people. They're just dead. When Julius Caesar died, he commissioned his soldiers to do several things as a result of his awareness of life. One of the things he told them to do was when they put the casket around him, over him, he said, put my hands outside of the casket when you parade me through the town, because I want people to see that my hands are empty. I want people to see that as great as I am, as great as I was, that I am going out the same way I came in, with nothing in my hand. We don't leave here with anything in our hand, body included. We don't leave here with any physical thing, because those are not us. They are ours. Whether it's our money, our hand, our body, our home. As it was said to me yesterday, no one's ever seen a U-Haul behind a hearse. I want you to understand the order, that everything starts first with the fact that you are. The fact that you can say, I am. The fact that you can be aware and conscious of being. That is the jump off point, the genesis. That is Genesis. That's where the word gender came from. Male, female, not men, not actual, the physical part. It's really the psychological part, the objective and the subjective. Consciousness. So, if everything starts there, everything you're seeing in your world at the end is a reflection of that. So this is what you, we, me, I have to get a hold of. This is the power source. This what allows you at 3 weeks old to cry, laugh, sing, do whatever you could do at 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 9 weeks, whatever else. Whatever else it is. So let's kind of take it a little bit to the side. when as you are growing older, then what is actually happening? As you are growing older, what is actually happening?
You gaining more awareness?
Awareness, okay? How would you say that?
Your needs change.
Okay. How do you know your needs change?
You become conscious.
So as you're getting older, what is happening?
Your conscience expands.
Expanding
Your
it.
consciousness
You
is expanding. It's opening up like a flower. It already has everything in it. It just opens. It opens as time goes on. Through exposure, it opens. Your consciousness is constantly expanding. That is what we call living. Life is not physical. Life is expressed physically. It is not physical. Life is mental. Life is non-physical. Life is not things you can see. Life is the power source that expresses itself through things you can see. You can't see the wind. You can see what it blows. You can't see a person. All you can see is their body. You can't see them. All you can see is their mask, their character, their persona, the person. People walking right by you is like a car riding right by you on a freeway. No one thinks the car is driving itself, even if you can't see the person in the car. There's an assumption that there's something in it making it go. Your body, our bodies are no different than that. There's something in it called consciousness making it go. Now, that car on the freeway is going somewhere based on what?
The engine, gas,
The driver?
the driver. I guess.
destination.
Desired destination.
Well, who has a desired destination? The car?
The driver.
The driver.
The driver.
This is important, right? I'm gonna say this loosely. I don't mean it literally loose. Get it right. Like the gas. What do you mean? If you put a full tank of gas in with a 5-year-old behind the wheel, where are they going? They won't make
In
it a
the
block.
ditch.
To the ditch with a full tank of gas still left.
Straight into the garage.
It's right to the nearest person, place, or thing. They're going straight into it, right? It is according to the driver. When you see somebody walking by you, what is happening? What are you actually looking at?
Their vehicle.
You're looking, okay, so then what are you looking at?
Their body.
What are you looking at?
They got me.
You are
How their
looking,
mind operates.
exactly, essentially, yes. You're looking at consciousness in motion.
Mm.
When you see somebody doing something, they're showing you what they're thinking. You don't have to like it. You don't have to love it. You don't have to hate it or agree. You have to understand. I tell my daughter all the time, Zoe, you don't have to like people. You don't have to hate them, but you have to know them. You have to know who people are. Because when you know who people are, you know what they'll do and what they won't do. People don't surprise you as much as you like to being surprised. I can't believe it. For real. Like, how many times have we said that and it's actually been true? Like we literally could not have imagined this being possible. Not nearly as many times as we say it. We may not like it. We may not believe that you actually did that, but were we all that surprised? Generally, no. Generally, no. When you are looking at a body going by you, it's just like looking at a car on a freeway going by you. There's something in it, and the car is going according to the driver. The body is going according to the driver. The driver in a car, we call a person. The driver in a body, we call consciousness. And the wisdom book in the Bible, it's called I am. Where are you going? I am going to the store. Consciousness going to the store. The power source is now saying, I am going to power up this body. This I am called in physical form, I am non-physical. Can't see it. Physical, Giovanni. I am non-physical, body, physical. The body we call Giovanni, or we call Sparkle, or we call Gavin, or we call any one of us on here. This body is being governed. The name is the name of the body is Giovanni, but I am is inside the body, just like the car has a driver inside of it. Your driver is your consciousness. That is your driver. That is what's setting all the assignments. That's what's telling you where you're going or where you're not going, how fast you're going, when you leave, when you arrive. Your consciousness is doing all of that. The I on here, I is singular. It's not plural. No matter how many people are around you, you're still an individual. You still have your own consciousness, your own ability to think. You can't give that to someone else, and no one can take it from you. It's your own. It will always be your own. It's the thing that let you know before anything else that you were. So being a man, being a woman, being rich, being poor, all those things are things, being a parent are things that you picked up along the way, that you became aware of being or doing or having along the way, but they're not you. They're at best yours for as long as you choose to keep them. They're not you. So when you say, I am black, no, you're not. I'm a woman, no, you're not. That's what you're believing yourself to be. That is something you are attaching to your consciousness. But what you are is what you've always been and always will be, which is I am, just consciousness, period. Choosing itself to be this. Choosing itself to have that. Choosing to live here. But that you are not black. That black body will not stand if you're not in it. It is not you, it is yours. It does not have control over you. It can't tell you what to do. It can't wake you up or put you to sleep. You are the power that's making it work. Just like your car. Your car can't tell you what to do just because you're going on a road trip. Hey, you've been in here for 6 hours, right? So I think we need to. Your body is just like that. It is going according to you as the driver. It is in the shape it's in because of the driver. It has the tires it has because of the driver. Everything is because of what's in it, not outside of it. It does not have its own volition. It does not have its own consciousness. It will sit on the side of the road just like a body if there's no driver or no consciousness in it. This is important to understand. If you can understand this fundamentally, you can understand, we can understand. When I'm talking to you, I'm talking to me. So when I say you, let me just put that in note. I'm not standing up here like I'm floating on the water up in a cloud. I'm living the same life, same earth. That's why I talk so passionately about what we're talking about, because I'm living it. I'm not up here. You're not going to catch me out somewhere else talking about something else or living some kind of different lifestyle somewhere else like that. I'm living what I'm talking about and what we're talking about, just like we all are to varying degrees, right? That's why I talk so passionately. So when I say you, I mean me too. We, us, always, right? If we can understand this, then we can understand, just like we understand, if I get in the car, I can go somewhere. If I don't get in the car's not going to move. Wherever the car goes is because of where I, who got in it, took it. The car is no different than, it is a physical thing. The car is physical. That means the car only moves after. It only moves after you. It only moves because of you. All physical things, all of them, all physical things only move after you. They only move because of you. Your money only moves after you. It only moves because of you. It is a direct reflection of you in monetary form. Your body is a direct reflection of you in physical form. Your friendships are a direct reflection of you in friendship form. You always have to have a physical thing to express yourself physically in the physical world. So all of these outcomes, all of these effects, the things on the outside are only after. They're after. The first thing is, what is the first thing? Everybody, what is it? What is it?
Consciousness.
You,
Who is that?
me,
I am.
I am,
I am, which represents what?
me,
Yes, represent, which is what?
Consciousness.
Consciousness, right? And I don't mean it in semantics. I mean it just in awareness. I want us to become aware of what's actually happening, not just the words. We're trying to use words to describe what's actually happening. And so I'm very specific about words, as you guys know that have been here for a while, but I also understand that words a lot of times are very limiting in what we're trying to express. You know, how sometimes you feel like, you know how you feel and you're trying to explain it to someone else. And you're like, I know how I feel, but you're trying to find the words that most accurately describe how you feel. Sometimes, very often, words can be limiting. So a lot of times we take words in communication, we use the context in which they are applied in order to get the best meaning of what someone is trying to tell us. So what I'm saying to you is, I want you to understand consciousness is where everything starts. Everything. That's who you are, what you are, that's where everything starts. The world you see is just a physical effect of the process. So when something comes to your physical world, it's because your consciousness powered it. Now, what is it? It is the middle part now. It is the middle part. You essentially have your tripartite being, right? That's what Noah's Ark is about. That's what it's about. You're a tripartite being.
Mom. Okay, damn, I'm in a meeting.
Right? So you have three levels of consciousness, which you would call your God consciousness, your human consciousness, and your subconsciousness. Right? So there's three parts of this equation. There's consciousness, right? There is your outcome, your effect, right? Your world, right? What you see, the sensory world, right? What you can see, taste, touch, and everything else. This is last. This is where everything, this is the end. This is the beginning, consciousness. This is the beginning. So now there's this big thing here in the middle. What is this? What is that? What is that? What's the thing here in the middle? What is that?
Execution? Decisions?
Dude, that's the exact word. That's literally the exact word. This consciousness that you've had since you were 3 weeks old, that thing that Gavin was talking about, just the fact that I know I'm here. And the outcome in the sense of, okay, I'm crying and I'm doing this, but I'm here, I'm crying. So I'm here. How do I feel about it? Right? Decision. What am I going to do about it? Every day you're making decisions about what you're going to do with this. I'm here. What am I going to do about it? Here's the outcome of that. Here's the outcome of what I decided. Here's the outcome of what I decided. You're deciding every minute of every day about what you think about this, what you think about that, what you feel about this, what you feel about that. Right? And how do we know? Well, if I were to say, we're all saying the same thing. We're all saying what we think by how we describe something. First person. So an example of that would be what? I want to hear from somebody I haven't heard from. Right? An example of our decision, of our conscious decision. What is that? What's an example of that?
A favorite color choice.
Yeah, but how would you express that choice? Because a lot of us don't think we have a choice. But you do. And you're announcing your choice constantly. How do you announce that? What is that? What do you say when you're announcing that choice?
Your beliefs or your opinions or?
Yeah, but how is that stated?
It's usually my favorite color is, or you might choose
Okay.
to purchase things
Okay.
of that
So
color.
who is mine? Who is mine?
What you mean? The I am, that conscious being, that person.
So you're in, so I am has a favorite color. You're announcing a decision. We are constantly saying my, right? Singular. I, singular. Me, singular. We're saying with the consciousness, with the fact that I'm awake, that I'm here now, I made a decision to do, to be, or to have something. To like something, to dislike something, to love something, to hate something. We are making decisions about everything in our world constantly. That's why we're always saying I am not, I will be, I won't be, I'm going, I'm not going. I have, I like, I hate, I this, I that. We're saying because I'm alive, what I'm going to do about this is decision. I'm deciding what I'm doing with this thing. When you get in the car, whether you get in or you decide before you get in the car, you're deciding where you go, right? You don't leave it up to the car. Well, then if you don't leave it up to the car to decide where you go, why would you leave it up to your body to decide how you feel?
Come on, coach.
Another way of saying.
Drop the mic. Class is over.
That's it.
It don't take much.
That's it.
Oh,
That's it.
That was an absolute mic drop.
so is this another way of basically saying I am responsible for what's happening in my life? I'm responsible for my life. My life is based off of decisions I've made. So, like, it's another way of saying you're accountable for your own self, for your own reality, or what's happening to you.
Yes. As you mature, you start to realize there is no other way. As you mature, you realize there is no other way. It's almost like doing homework when you're in elementary school. Sometimes some people's parents will do it for them. Sometimes your parents will let you get away with it one night. Sometimes you have to sit there and do it. But as you get older and you mature in your mind, you realize, I gotta do it. It's the only way this information gets into my mind. It doesn't matter what my mom knows. It doesn't matter what my dad knows. It doesn't matter what anyone else knows if I don't know it. And so if I want to have a life, I'm going to have to put this information in my mind in that sense. I'm going to have to do the homework. It's the only way that I get to own my experience. It's the only way I'm truly free is if I have the information for myself. If I'm renting it, if I'm Airbnb-ing it, meaning my parents are doing my homework or my parents are doing this or my friends are doing this, yeah, they can loan me, they can lend me, but it's not mine. I don't own it. I can't live on it. I can't live with it. Your consciousness is where everything starts. At 3 weeks old and younger, it starts before you even get into a body. That's a whole nother conversation for another day, which we've tapped into a little bit here and there, but you picked the body you got. You picked it. You picked it. Why do things happen to babies? We have mothers here. We have fathers here. Has anybody ever read to their baby while they were still pregnant? You didn't see the baby. You still read to it. You didn't see the baby. It was still growing. How could it grow without consciousness? Why would you read to it if it couldn't hear? How does it know your voice when it gets out and it's the first time it saw you? How does it know? It's conscious. It's been conscious. And your body is not a living thing without you. So your body doesn't actually make consciousness. It can't. It's not conscious. Without you are consciousness. Your car can't make another car. Only a living being or a machine, let's say, can make a car, but a car can't make a car. It doesn't have life to give. Your body does not have life to give. Your body can only be used by a living thing to give it the physical expression that it came through you for. I need a body? Cool, let me put this on. I want to go swimming? Cool, let me put this swimsuit on.
It makes me look at animals different too.
What?
Just
Okay, we gotta stay on track right now. Right? We gotta stay on track. We'll be back to that another time, another channel. All right. Yes, it is.
their consciousness too.
They are. They're different. They are conscious as well. And they're just different level. They're a different level.
Bird fly. That's
They're a
that.
different level of consciousness. Yes, they are. They're a different level of consciousness. And according to their consciousness, that's why some of them fly south for the winter. That's why some of them do this or do that. Some of them fly higher. Some of them fly lower. Some of them fly together. Some of them are more solo acts. Some of them you see more often. Some of them you see less often. Some of them you see in higher elevations when you're closer to the mountains or up in the mountains. You don't see hawks just rolling down the middle of the street usually. They're usually in higher elevations. You don't see pigeons way up in the mountain. They don't fly that high generally. But they are all living according to their consciousness, according to their own program. And we as humans are the only ones who get to decide and define and rearrange and remodel our consciousness to go from being a doctor to being a parent to being a dancer to being an accountant to being a this, a that, or whatever else it is.
Only could limitless.
We are limitless. That's what it means when it says we're made in the image and likeness of God. We're made in the image and likeness of the highest form of consciousness. It means the highest form of consciousness created everything. So it knows what everything is or isn't and how to be that thing. Well, we are the only other consciousness in human form. That consciousness came into human form. And therefore, we have the ability to be all these different things. We're the only living conscious thing that can change its mind about what it is. A tree can't do it. A dog can't do it. No other thing can do it. Your body is not living. It's only made alive. And it's made alive according to your consciousness. So your consciousness is making your body alive. So if your body has a fever, what do you think happened?
It's a decision you made somewhere in there.
Yes, even if it's unconscious, it may be the belief in fever, the belief in sickness.
Right.
It's still a reflection of consciousness. My consciousness believes I made a decision with this consciousness. I decided that sickness is possible. I didn't decide necessarily that I want to get sick. I didn't think I was going to get sick, but I decided that it's possible.
Right.
I decided to believe it, to take that into my shopping cart. I may not buy it, so to speak, but it's in here with me right now. It's rolling around this store with me. Right? So I still believe in the possibility of it. But belief is what consciousness uses as a what we would call a physical decision, is nothing but conscious belief.
I've literally seen someone who mentioned, oh, there's people getting sick all over. I hope I don't. I feel okay, and literally get sick overnight just from them thinking about the fact that everyone around me is getting sick.
Everyone,
Interesting.
consciousness, I, right? Singular. Even if you want to put am, I, singular, me, you. If I'm talking to you, singular, individual. If things were inevitable, so to speak, everyone would get the same thing. Everyone would have got COVID. Everyone would be this, or everyone would be that. Every black person would be this. Every white person would be that. Every woman would be this. Every child would be that. Everyone would be the same, even if they're different from one demographic. They would be the same all within a demographic, yet they're not. Yet we are not. Our consciousness allows us to make decisions. The decisions that we use, our consciousness is our power. Our power now goes into this thing for us to make a decision with. Whatever we decide is powered into what we call our world. Comes into the sensory world, into our five senses. We now say, I, decision, am. I am, decision, I have decided to be. Well, when we express something, we say, hey girl, how you doing? Oh girl, I'm not feeling well. Okay, well, that's an expression of sick. So I've decided to be somewhere along this spectrum. I've decided to be that, or that was possible for me. And one day that possibility became reality. Reality can't come without the possibility. So then where did you get the possibility? You decided. You may have decided, almost like a bank account. You have money, you put it in there. You didn't spend it right now, but it's still yours. It's yours to go pick it up anytime you want. And something happens that makes you pick it up. Oh, I want to go buy my kids some shoes. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna go get that car. Oh, you know what? I need that money for my housing. I'm gonna go buy a new house. Oh, I need to put my kids in ING Academy. So we may need to move, or we may need to buy something. I've always had the money. I couldn't spend it if I didn't have it. Just because I didn't use it right now doesn't mean I didn't have it. Just because I'm not consciously thinking something doesn't mean I'm not thinking it. Doesn't mean I don't have it. But if you can't give what you don't have, then if you got it, you had to have had it. Just because you don't know it doesn't mean you don't. And that's why I say today, pay attention, because consciousness is what is starting the whole process. So the first thing you are is that you are. I just am that I am. I just am that. I'm anything. I'm everything. Now, when you look into your physical world, you can decide. You can see what decisions you've made. You decided to be a black woman. You decided to be a black man. You decided to be white. You decided to be a girl. You decided to be a boy. You decided to be born in this day, this year. You decided that. No one else decided that but you. That's hard for people to understand because we think we are what we see now. But what we see now is the after effect of what we were before we got into it. This body is like a car. We're not the car. Just because we got a new car and drove off the lot doesn't mean we're the car because it's brand new. Just because a baby's brand new doesn't mean that it is the car or it's the body. It's the person that's come into a new car. It's the person that's come into a new body. But the person was alive before the body. It's what makes the body alive. Your body is nothing but a physical expression of you, of the thing we can't see. Just like that car. So when you get in a car accident, you say, oh, you hit me. No one can find fingerprints on you from that person. But you're saying, you, and the car are one. You're saying the fender that hit you is the same thing as a fingerprint. That's what you're saying. That's what you're saying. Well, you and your body are one. You are the owner of your body. It's not you, no matter how long you're in it. It's not you. It's yours, but it's going according to you, just like your car. And you're responsible for it. So if you get into an accident, do you get out and yell at the car? If you have a fever, that's an accident. Just because it's common doesn't mean it's correct. Does anybody say, oh, well, you know, I got into a car accident. Oh, girl, those happen all the time. You'll be all right. Does anybody say that? Everybody's like, oh, you okay? Or man, that's horrible. Because nobody thinks that's, just because it's common and it happens all the time, nobody thinks it's correct. Nobody thinks it's inevitable. It just has to be that way, or it should. We always will call it something like an unfortunate incident or an accident. It's something that happened, but that we don't mean. A fever is no different than an accident. It's something that is common. Don't ever let yourself think it's correct. It's not. No more than a car accident is correct. It's not. It's just something that has been normalized. That doesn't make it normal. It's abnormal. That's why your body always is fighting it to try to get you back to what is normal. That's why you get your car fixed so that it looks back to normal. If you see a car with a big dent on the side, nobody thinks, oh yeah, man, yeah, that's all together. Nobody thinks that. Right? That's important for us to understand. That something being normalized doesn't make it normal. Something being common doesn't make it correct. It just means there's a whole lot of people doing it, or a whole lot of people who have done it. Accidents are going on all the time. But nobody thinks that's the thing to do, or it just has to happen. It's just unfortunate. It's an accident. Generally, that term is because we didn't plan it. We didn't mean it. That doesn't mean that it was impossible. Right? We couldn't have got into the car accident if we were in the house. We couldn't have got a fever if we weren't in the body. The fever doesn't get a body on its own. The body doesn't get a fever on its own. The fever needs a body. Fever can't just go around. There's nothing to express itself. But what creates the fever? The fever is an idea. Fever is an idea. It's an idea that we have so that we can express it physically. Money is an idea that we have so we can express it physically. Joy is an idea we have so we can express it physically in this human world. Consciousness is where ideas come from. And you pick and choose which ones you want in your physical world. All right, I'll stop for a second. Tell me what you got. Tell me what you're getting. Tell me what you're understanding. Tell me if you have a question, comment, things like that. Tell me how we are doing with this.
What I got from here, just totally simplified life. Just consciousness, decision, outcome, period. And that's really all that there is. All the what ifs and what if I do this, and then I'm aware, I make a decision, and that's the outcome. And that's it. Mind blown. Thank you.
You said it better than I did.
Right.
That was awesome.
That was awesome.
I learned
Thank
that.
you.
I actually learned more from you listening right there than everything I've said or thought I knew before. That was
Wow.
actually awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, great way how do you say reiterate?
Yes. Yes, reiterating. Yes. Oh, that was awesome. That was awesome. Man, I dropped the mic for you right there.
Thank you.
This just came out of my hand. I couldn't even hold it. Wow, that was awesome. Okay, what does everyone else say? What is everyone else thinking? I want us to understand this is important. Yes, go ahead.
I just want to say thank you, because I think you helped me I'm a conscious parenting coach, and I think you actually helped me conceptualize some of the things that I need to say to parents to kind of get the point across, because each child is their own individual. So they each come with their own consciousness. And despite what we teach them, they're still going to be their own person. And we have, as parents, have to understand that and know how to cater to that. So I just want to thank you. You helped me conceptualize a lot of things.
Yeah, so thank you. My honor and pleasure. Thank you. Thank you. Awesome.
Sparkle Bailey said she needs a 30-day customized game plan for her day. She said, talk to your boy, so just letting you know.
Okay. 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 Anyone else before we keep moving?
I think it was just really enlightening, the fact that you shared all of that, because it helps us to understand how many decisions we make literally every single day that impact who we've become, who we're becoming, and the fact that we can make decisions to even change those things. Like, what do you accept as your reality as opposed to what you don't accept? The body can have a temperature, but I may not say I have a fever. I could feel terrible physically, but I don't have to say I'm sick, because then I'm accepting that as my truth and my reality. So it definitely speaks volumes to how many decisions we're capable of making, literally in every aspect of our lives.
Yes.
Yeah, like how much power we actually have.
That's the other thing I was going to say. It also reminds us of really what we're capable of and how much power and authority we actually have over our circumstances. If we were created in the image of God and in his likeness, and he had the power to speak a thing into existence and it manifests, the same exists within us. But a lot of us don't tap into that because we don't feel like we have that much power, but we were gifted that before we even came to be.
Put in the chat.
Facts.
Fight for greatness, fist, and crown emoji.
Absolutely. 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 It's a very simple equation. Very eloquently put a minute or two ago. Very simple equation. We have consciousness, we have a decision, and we have an outcome. The outcome is based on our decision. Our decision is based on our consciousness. So we have the power to be anything. Consciousness is anything, meaning it's the anything, all things. It's just power. It's like clay before you make it into something. It's just the ability. Now, what do you want the ability to do? That's it. What do you want it to do? That's your decision. So when you use your ability to make a decision, that is going to be your outcome. We have gone so far, right? We have gone to the outlets and turned ourselves around a little bit and thought it was over here, and then found the place over here, and then came back and thought our car was out here. We've lived long enough to turn ourselves around a little bit and forget the simplicity of that equation. And because of that, we start complicating it, thinking it, well, the economy says, but the economy is always the end. Anything that we see physical is always the end. So that means there had to have been a decision before it, whether it's ours or someone else's. Somebody could say, we're going to raise the interest rate. Okay, but we still have we're still conscious, and we still have the right to make a decision on how we feel about that. What does that mean? Is my decision now going to be based on their decision? They raise the rate. So my decision is, oh man, now I can't afford it. We made our decision based on their decision. We can make a decision and say, no matter how high the rates go, no matter how long there's a recession or depression, or whether there's COVID or whatever else it is, I'm always prosperous and in good health, even as my soul prospers. Right? My leaf is always green and my tree never ceases to bear fruit. Everything I set my hand to prospers. It means we always have the right to make our own decision. Just like we talked about a minute ago, when we realized, yes, even though we're talking to kids as parents or as someone who's helping parents with their children, each child is their own individual consciousness. Everyone, all of us are our own individual consciousness. We all have our own ability to see the movie, to watch a movie and see it completely different. We go to a movie, all of us could go to a movie and like different characters, like the movie, hate the movie, thought it was too short, thought it was too long. We're all watching the same thing and come away with completely different takes on it, not because the movie was different, but because we're different. So we're always seeing reality, whether it's a movie or our world, through the lens of our consciousness, of the power that we have to decide what we think about who we are, where we are, what we have, what we don't, how things go, or whatever else it may be. We always have the option to choose. Always. That is where our true freedom lies. Our freedom lies in the invisible, not the visible. Our freedom lies in our ability to choose. Choice is not visible. The outcome of it is. Life is mental. It's expressed physically. Our ability to choose is our power. When God said, let there be light, it's the ability to choose something. And it was good and very good. The outcome of what you chose is good and very good. It worked. When we realize that we are consciousness and that every single thing, we have the power and the ability as a result of consciousness, we have the power ability to be anything or do anything or have anything. Now we're just deciding what we're going to do. Just like when we get into a car, where are we going? The car has no say. Life has no say. The world is just like your car. It's waiting for you to tell it what to do, where to go, how fast to go, what time to leave. The world is like the car. It's created for you to interact with, to express yourself to your own desire and benefit. You're not here for it. It is here for you. You created it before you came here, which is why you got into this body and said, I want to ride that roller coaster. I want to get onto that field. I want to touch that blade of grass. Who you really are is in this body, just like who you really are, so to speak, is in that car. But the car doesn't have a say on if you start it or don't start it, what time you go into it, how long you've been into it. It is yours. It is there to please you. It is there as an expression of you. So in your right mind, you take care of it. You take care of your car. You take care of your body. You take care of this world. It's something that you use for yourself to express your desires, all of your ideas in physical form. Simple, like it was so simply put. Consciousness, then decision, outcome. You are equals whatever you decide. What does it say in the book? According to your faith, according to your decision, according to your expectation, according to your assumption. We are deciding, expecting, and assuming constantly. We're always in some form, noun, verb. We're always in some form. The I is always in some form of action. Always. Always. You are deciding, expecting, and assuming constantly. And those things are what you call your outcome. And what do you call your outcome? All the physical things. Your health, your relationships, your employment. Do you have a business? Do you not have a business? How's the business going? Do you have friends? How are they going? Do you have enough? Do you have too many? All these outcomes are based on the verb, are, the decision, the expectations, the assumptions. All of this is based on first you, consciousness. Everything physical that you see, the outcome, physical world, everything physical that you see was first created by things you don't see. The you and the are invisible. Measure twice, cut once. Measure twice, cut once. Everything you see in your physical world was first a thought. You had to be conscious to think it. Now, the thought is your consciousness molded. Everyone has clay, the I am. Now, what you decide to be is now molding that into what you want this clay to look like. You can't mold something that doesn't exist, so that you have to have something that exists first. That's the I. What you now are molding it to is a decision, an expectation, an assumption of an outcome. What I want us to be is more conscious of our consciousness, realizing I am, like Gavin said, I'm here. You're here. That is where everything starts and is all you need. I'm here. I'm here. I made it. I'm here. Now, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? We all have young people around us. When we tell them we're going to Disneyland, what do they do? What do they say? What do they do?
They're excited.
Yeah, everybody, what do they do?
They get excited.
They get, okay, they get excited, right?
Take me, take me, take me, take me.
Okay, now watch this, watch this. So which part of the equation is that? Which part of the equation is that?
Expectation.
Outcome.
No, no,
Expectation.
no.
There's the consciousness.
That's your consciousness. Your
It's
consciousness
this first.
saying, I
Yes.
want to go.
Yes, it's that first. It's that first. Now, here's how you know. Let's say you get to Disneyland now. You drive by Disneyland and you keep going. What do your children or that kid do then?
They're gonna have a fit.
Cry, temper tantrum.
Right? Okay. So then what part of the equation is that?
Oh, that's the outcome.
No.
No, that's still the consciousness reacting
No.
to not getting its
No.
way. No.
No. It's the am. They're now deciding how they feel about the fact that you kept driving. Because why? They had an expectation that you were going to pull into the parking lot. They assumed they were going to get out. So you betrayed all of these things to them. Now, the outcome of that is, after they register that in their mind, the outcome is, okay, what did you do? Did you keep going and never went back? Did you turn around and say, now it became physical, the outcome, the end result, the end, not all the things in the middle, the end. Have you ever decided to take your kids somewhere and then said, nah, change your mind? Anybody ever done that? Have you ever decided to take your
All
kids
the time.
somewhere, change your mind, and then change your mind again?
Yeah.
Okay, so then the outcome doesn't matter until it's actually finished. Meaning, how many times have you watched a movie and you swore you knew the ending? If you would have walked out in the middle and then you saw somebody later and they told you the ending, and you'd be like, what do you mean? I thought so-and-so died. Nah, he didn't die. He just he got sick for a while, but he's back. My point is that when we talk about manifesting, we're conscious, then we make a decision. Where we trip and fall is we get messed up in the middle. We assume this outcome before the outcome actually happens. We think like, oh, it's taking so long. Oh, it's not going to actually happen. Oh, well, they said no. Oh, well, it's not over till it's over. And it's not over until you say it's over. You're the one that started it. You got in your car and you drove to the store. Your car doesn't get to say, you know what, it is raining outside. It's a little cold. I think we should just stop right here. Doesn't work like that, right? Your body doesn't get to do that either. You decide when you start. You decide when you end. Everything in the middle is just the middle, but it's not over until the outcome, until you decide whether it's over. It's not over until you pull back up to the house and say, sorry, kids. Or you may keep going and say, you know what, I told them they're going to go. Let me just get it over with. They don't care what happened in the middle as long as you pull back up into that parking lot. We're always in this order. This is always happening. Consciousness is always deciding, expecting, and assuming its desired outcome, or even its undesired outcome. Hey, I just want to let everybody know we're probably going to have to lay everyone off. The business is not making as much as we anticipated, and we're most likely going to have to lay most of you, if not all of you, off. Let's be honest. let's be honest. Let's just say this is before we got on these calls and before we knew any better from anywhere else. How many people would assume that would include us? As soon as they start talking, they just said, we're probably gonna have to lay everyone off. We're not sure, but most likely, maybe everyone, probably, most likely. They might as well have said certainly. They said probably and most likely, and you said certainly and absolutely. You include, they didn't even talk to you, weren't even looking your direction when they said it. And you were like, well, let me start packing up. Let me go and get my plant. Hey girl, can you give me a box of my plant? Hey, can you? We're automatically assuming ahead of our evidence. That's how this works. Well, automatically, our consciousness is always being formed by decisions, expectations, and assumptions. Those decisions, expectations, or assumptions are what determine our outcome. The outcome is determined by us. It's not determined by the outside. The outside is the effect. It's after the equal sign. It's after the equal sign. Does everybody understand that?
Yes.
It is the result of you. It's the result of you. We are always conscious, just like Gavin said, I'm here. You're always going to be saying that. You're always saying, I'm here. Until you no longer are in this body. You're always saying you're here. Always. And you still will after this body. But we're just talking about this physical experience. You're always saying, I'm here. The next question is, what's the next question? What's the next question you should be asking yourself at that point?
Now what? What next?
What next? What now? When the kids get to Disneyland and you decide to let them go in and they get out of the car, right? They're deciding what's next. What's now? I made it. They don't just sit in the car and look at it and be like, well, sure glad we got here. You can't even put the car in park before they get out. You telling them, don't open that door so fast and hit that man's car, right? Hit that lady's car. Disneyland gonna be over before we get in. Right? What's next? We're here now. What's next? You're here now. What's next? Choice, decision, outcome. I am. What am I? Whatever I'm deciding, whatever I'm expecting, whatever I'm assuming. I am that. I have that. I do that. Best English, I be that. This is what's going to happen with this power. I'm using this power to do this. To become something. Whether it's in what I have, what I do, where I go, whatever it is in life. To be healthy, to be wealthy, to have friends. You choose it wisely, but you're choosing. You can choose to be sick. Electricity doesn't care what you plug into it. It's a law. This is a law of mind. It's the most important law. As I see myself, as I choose, so am I. As I choose, so goes my outcome. My outcome comes from my choice. There is no way, there will never be any way this works differently than that. You were made in the image and likeness of consciousness, of the highest level of consciousness. There is nothing telling that consciousness what to do. There's no one saying it can't. It has to wait. Let me run your credit. How many people? You got any guarantors? Well, let me talk to so-and-so. Well, do you know so-and-so? Well, consciousness is the only power. We call that, or in the book, it's called God. Outside, I look outside, they call it the sun. Spanish, they call it soul. Back in the day, way back, they called it Jesus. G-E-E-Z-U-S. Doesn't matter what you call it, it works the same. It works the same. How it functions and operates is the same. Whatever you want to call your consciousness, you can call it I am, you can call it the universe, Allah, Buddha, Jesus, you can call it whatever you want. It works the same. It doesn't matter what you call it. What matters most is that you understand it and understand that you and it are one. What you call you is the body. What you call it is you before you stepped into it. You just forgot it's you. You came here and wiped your mind so you could actually have a good time. So you could actually believe this is real. This physical human experience is not real. That's why all the nightmares of the world, when people say, well, why did God let things happen? Why do we make horror movies? Because we know once it's over, it's not real. It's not real. This life is like a movie. It's not real, but it can be a real experience. It's something that you can have a real experience with. Just like at the movies. That popcorn you ate is real. The movie's not, but the popcorn is. The soda is. The money you spent is. The time you spent is. You had a real experience with something that's not real. You're having a real experience called life, but life is not real. In the sense of when you die, you don't die. You just step up out of this body. The movie didn't die. It was just over. Guess what they're going to do? Replay it for the people walking in right after you? It doesn't die. It's not over. You never die, ever. Your body might, your car might, you don't. That car, you be like, man, this car, I'm done with this. You step out. You don't sit there and say, oh my God. You're like, man, peace, bye. I'm going to give me another one. Because you know who you are. You know that no matter how long you have that car, it's not you. It can't be. That's why after we so-called die, that body stays on this planet. Just like that earth stays in the physical realm. It's a physical thing, but you are not. There's no such thing as time in consciousness, in the I. In consciousness, there's no such thing as time. Time is, it is, as people say, human construct. It means humans chop time up to be able to understand it with our human mind. But all things are happening at once. Let me give you an example of that, and then we'll have a little time for question and answer. Here's what I mean by that. Which we would call God, what we call consciousness, the highest form of consciousness, which is what we are, all we still are. We're just in human form, so we forgot. But that's what this human form is, what made us forget. That's what makes us enjoy this life. That's why it feels so amazing and feels so frustrating and feels so, because we're having a real experience. But this I is who we always are. Our ability to choose is the image and likeness that we took with us. Hey, okay, I'm gonna drive this car. I'm gonna drive your car, but that doesn't take away my ability to drive. I don't drive better or worse because of it. I drive because I am who I am before I got in this car. I am who I am before I got in this body. This body isn't making me more or less me. It's just expressing what I was before I got in it. But here's what I mean when I say there's no such thing as time. What I'm saying is that in the human mind, there's yesterday, today, and tomorrow. In true consciousness, I'm here. It's all happening at once. There is no such thing. Our physical body, just all of you can imagine, go back to your, I know we have a couple kids on here, so we'll go back to maybe a little bit younger. Go back to second grade. In your mind, just go back to second grade. All right, I want to volunteer. Let's see. Let's see here. Somebody give me a volunteer. No, you know what? Let me see if I can get it. Justin.
What's up, coach? I'm right here.
Yes, sir. All right. I want you to go back in your mind in second grade.
Oh my goodness. All right, I'm there.
All right. What is the name of that teacher?
Oh, man.
Is it a man or a woman?
Honestly, I don't even know. I don't know my kindergarten teacher, my first and second. I remember my third grade teacher was Mrs. Gano.
Okay. And was she nice or mean?
Nice.
Nice. And what did the room look like?
was just like a regular classroom.
What is
Oh.
something she did? What is something she did that you remember? What do you remember about her?
She was like a young lady. She was like fresh out of college.
Okay. So
She was
now,
nice.
okay. So now, everyone, think about that. Justin is sitting in the same place physically. His body can't move. His body can't go back there. But the non-physical part of himself can. And it's using the mind to express where it is. So Justin can literally be where he wants to be without his physical body having to be there. Because Justin is not his body. You are not your body. The true you, the I, the consciousness, can see everything all at once. All you have to do is turn your attention to that direction. Like when you're in your car, you can see everything that you can see from where you are, all at once. You just turn your neck and you can see everything where you are right now. Just because you're not looking doesn't mean it doesn't exist. You're just not looking that way. You can turn your consciousness to any part of your life that you want. You think long enough and you'll remember things you can't believe you remember. I can remember when I was young, I don't even remember how old I was, but I lived in Belgium. I was telling my mom this story a while ago. I can remember when I lived in Belgium and I remember I got chicken pox. And I can remember, my mom will tell you, I can describe going through the back alley, going through the garage, walking down this little walkway. Across the walkway was some grass and a lawn. There was a house there. And then if I kept on the walkway to the left was our house. I can remember walking in to the door. I can remember the kitchen on the left, like the living room, dining room or whatever. The kitchen was really kind of small. And I think they're wooden steps. They went up and they went around. And then my room was on the left. When I came to the stairway to the right, my room was on the left. And I remember lying in the bed this way and there was a slit like a window. And I remember lying in the bed and I had chicken pox. I remember lying in the bed and looking out at that window and light would come in. That had to be, I don't remember how old I was. My mom would say, I was probably, 6, something, 5. It was before I started elementary school in America. I went to kindergarten and elementary school in Belgium first. But point being, I can remember that right now. I can literally, but my body is still right here. There's no time. There is no limit. Your body has a limitation. You don't. That is the cross that the Bible talks about. Take up your cross. It's talking about your body. That is the cross you bear. It's the limitation of God in humanity, in a human form. That's the cross you bear. If you ever go back to the beginning of the Gospels when Jesus goes and finds his disciples. And what does he say to all of them? Pick up your cross and follow me. We think everybody's walking around with a big cross and some wood. No, he's talking about your body. Your body is your cross. It's your burden to bear. Meaning it is an omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent God that can do everything stuck in human form. That's your cross to bear. That's your burden. It's a burden to be all of that stuck in that. Right? Like you having to wear the same size shoe you had in 2nd grade right now. That'd be a burden. Right? So I want us to understand that. Last thing, so I say I've had to say this last thing. Everything already exists now. All of the desires of your heart, everything you could ever want to do or be or have is within you. Is within you. Your desire is just like the movie trailer. It's just when your consciousness makes it known to your human mind that this is available for you. You can have this now. You can't give your kids everything at once. You can't give them an inheritance at 2 years old. You can't let them ride a bike at 2 years old. You can't give them everything that you have for them yet. Your desire is something that you have for yourself in physical form. That when it comes to your mind, it is actually saying, okay, you're now ready for this. Not that it was just created now or just existed now. It's already been ready. It's just you weren't ready yet. But now your consciousness has grown and expanded to the point where now your true self, the real you, can say to your persona, your character, your mask, the role you're playing, hey, here's a new line for you in the script. Here's a new thing for you. So I'll give you this example, and that'll be it. Okay, I need a volunteer. Someone who I don't necessarily.
I'll be
know.
one.
I need a volunteer. Who is it?
I'll be one.
Okay. Do you? Okay. So you have. Do you have a? You don't necessarily have to say what it is, but do you have a desire? Meaning something that you want. That's a pretty big deal to you, but you don't have it right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So can you don't have to, but can you describe it? If you were made for $1 million, you had to describe it. Could you describe that thing clearly enough to get $1 million? You think?
I'll try.
Right? But you probably could describe it well enough. Would you assume that to be true?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. Do you know anyone named John?
Yeah.
Do you know anyone named Peter?
In the Bible?
No, personally.
No.
Okay. You don't know a person named Peter. All right. So I want you to describe Peter.
I got two Peters in my head. I got a Peter Pan. That's what I'm thinking of, like a skinny white man with red hair.
Okay.
That's where that he shoulders my heart, because I watched Peter Pan last night. And then if I really think about another one, a dark, yeah, right, Peter Parker. I was gonna say, a fair skin tall, a fair skin tall, athlete body with
Are you making this up?
Yes, I am. Because I'm thinking of a Peter. You said a Peter. Because I never seen a Peter. I don't know a Peter. So I'm just thinking of a Peter that I may see.
That's my point. So watch this. If you don't know a Peter and you can't describe it, if you have a dream or a desire and you don't have it, how can you describe something that you don't have? How can you describe your dream? You don't know Peter and you can't describe him. How can you describe a desire that you don't physically have?
Fake it till you make it.
Nope. Why anyone? Why can she do that?
She has the power to create whatever she wants to create. Like, she has the power to envision and bring to life whatever she wants to.
Yeah, okay, but she can't describe Peter. But she can describe, because she doesn't know a Peter. Well, she has a desire, but she doesn't have it. So how can she describe it?
Because when something becomes a genuine desire or a want, you can see it in your mind's eye because of your level of consciousness of that thing that you desire. It already exists, just hasn't materialized in front of you yet.
Right. The key word in that sentence is it already exists. It's real. You're not making it real. That's why you can describe it. You couldn't make Peter real. That's why you couldn't describe it. Because it doesn't truly exist. Your desire truly exists. I'll say all of us. You, we, me, and not literally, but you, me, we all think because we don't have something, it doesn't exist. But you can't describe something that doesn't exist. That's the only reason you can describe it. It does exist. It exists because remember, life is in the mind. It's expressed in the body. Your body doesn't make anything. It doesn't create anything. The living being uses the body to put together things, to experience things. But the creation and creator is first here. That's why you can describe it. When you can describe it in your mind, when you have a desire that comes to your mind that you can describe that clearly, it's because it exists. It's real. Now, the only thing you have to do is accept the fact that it's real by saying, I am, or I have. That is now me. I am conscious of it. That's why I can describe it. But now I have to decide to take possession in that same mental faculty where the desire came from, mentally. The mental faculty. The same place the desire came from is the same place that can externalize. It's just waiting for your decision. Your consciousness is waiting for you to do something with it. That's why you can describe it so clearly, because it's real. We think it's real once it hits our hand. It only hits our hand because it's real. The car doesn't teach you how to drive. You drive the car. You have to learn how to drive it. It can't do anything for you. You do something with it because of who you are. And as you grow and expand, you're able to do more things with it. As you grow and expand in consciousness, you're able to do more things with it because of it. Right? That desire the desires we have, my point is saying all that to say is this. All the desires that we have that we can literally feel, taste, touch in our mind, that you can articulate and describe, you can only do that because they're real. You're not making them real. They're already real. When you see that movie trailer, you didn't make it real. They're just promoting something to you that already exists. They're just bringing it to your awareness. That desire you have for anything is real. That's why you have the desire. All you have to do is go see the movie. All you have to do is decide, I am now that. I have that. Just like I didn't have to make the movie trailer, just like I didn't have to consciously dream this up, so to speak, just like that vision came to me, I don't have to make it work either. All I got to do is allow it to work by assuming it's so. You know what? I'm going to go see this movie. That's true. I now say this is true for me. I have that. I am that. I'm doing that. and my lack of better English, I be that. Mm-hmm. I'm now one with that thing. Just like you are with the movie theater seat when you go see that movie that had a trailer. It's real. It already exists. All of your desires already exist. They just come through to you just like things you give your kids, not all at once, but they come when you are ready in your mind. When your consciousness is open enough to receive it. But once it's open enough to receive it, that's because once it's open enough to receive it, it's open enough to do. For it to become a part of your physical world, if you allow it to be so. That's all you have to do. You don't have to make it work. So anything you can describe in your mind is only because it's real. It's real. It is more real than you. It's more real than anything you see, because everything your body included, was first of all. So if you consider yourself or your body real, your physical world real, the thing that makes it real, which came first, consciousness, as the great philosopher Gavin said earlier, that's the only thing that's what makes it real. All right, wonderful, everyone. That is today's Walmart shopping spree, shopping session. Does anyone have anything they'd like to say or ask or anything like that before?
Thank you.
Thank you
every time. Thank you every time. Thank you. This is crazy phenomenal. This is beautiful. This is a dope Saturday safe space. Dope Saturday safe space. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you for coming.
Great lesson, Coach Lucky.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Great message.
Thank you.
Also, Coach Lucky, thank you for your well wishes from our baseball stuff. Just wanted to tell you that. Thank you.
Oh man, I'm so happy for you, man. It's wonderful. It's good to be good. It's great to be great. It's wonderful to be wonderful. It's wonderful to live the best of life and to realize that you don't have to earn that, you deserve it. As long as you stay in your right mind, you realize that all the best in the world is for you. All the best in the world is for all of us. The rainbows, the sunsets, the nice walks, the great shoes, the nice car, the beautiful house, the great relationship. All the good in life is for you. Mm-hmm. And I'm happy to see as a younger person that you're catching on to that earlier than a lot of us did, because you'll be able to do things just because of time that you have, that we don't, that you'll be able to do things that will be better, and each generation is supposed to be better than the last. So good for you, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That was good stuff, Coach Lucky. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Good to see you always.
Keep being you, Coach. We appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Appreciate you all. Hey, well, thank you all. Have a wonderful weekend. Great Saturday. It's good to see you. It's always my honor and pleasure that you come, that we're all able to come to get together and reason and learn and grow and apply. Very simple equation. Consciousness, you decide, that's what's going to happen. Once you decide, there's no other decider. There's no one to tell you no. Stick with your decision and you'll see it. There's no other thing in the equation. There's no outside thing. Use your consciousness, decide. That's what the outcome is going to be. That's what it already is because you decided. It is like what you say it is because you said so. Because you said so. All right. Thank you all. Have a great one. We'll catch up next week.